We're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an STSPOD production. We're doing Dynamite. Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing, was that it? Yeah,
Double or Nothing. That was.
Double or Nothing. Hey, yep. I'm BT, and even though he says Chris Bay for no reason whatsoever, that's Lance over there. And that, I just want everybody to know this, that was not Lance at the STD Be Gone free clinic on 5th Street.
No.
Hashtag fake news. That was not him.
That was not me. You know, I'm old school today. I'm in the Mr. Mellon studios.
I've still got the rest of your introduction to do. Why did you interrupt me?
Sorry.
Oh, God. He's from Chicago, the home of the Windy City Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts will be playing Evansville Otters tomorrow night. Shout out to Jeff Osborne. He's the snark of excellence. Your partner of mine, my guy, Lance LeVine. How's it going, Lance? Now go ahead and you tell them where you're at. Tell them where you're at.
Your partner and mine. That's good.
Brand new studio there.
Yeah,
whoa.
Brand new studio. It is the Mr. Mellon Studios. It is old school tonight. It's Mr. Mellon bringing us the Double or Nothing recap show, or hits and misses, as it were.
Recap. Yeah, Dyn-O-MITE. It's just
Dyn-O-MITE,
like our Rolling into Memphis show we do every week. Real quick, I can't.
We got business. Is there business?
Business right here. Shout out to my longtime friend Bull. He always reaches out to me after a pay-per-view, an AEW pay-per-view, and I always never read what he is saying because I do not talk about the pay-per-views until me and you talk. So shout out to him, and I apologize, Bull. I'm an asshole when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And also all episodes, Memphis. Go ahead.
In May.
There we go. Tomorrow is the last day. We have a cassette wrestling news. Lance, we did 15 episodes counting tomorrow's. Me and you only did 2 together that didn't have anything to do with Memphis wrestling. Tomorrow we have a cassette wrestling news coming out at 2 o'clock. It has Uncle Danny. That's Josh from P3 Radio's Uncle Danny Davis, Nightmare Danny Davis. It's from 1991. And here's the cool thing about it is they actually shoot. You know, in 1991, we didn't have people talking outside the business. They talk about Lawler getting run over by a car, how they did it, all that kind of stuff. Really weird. By the way, Dynamite, the last time we were here, we did the brand split on AEW.
Yeah.
And I'll put the link in the notes, but that's been a very successful episode. And I think TK was actually listed.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. We
emulated one of our teams.
Maybe that's what Dave said. Observer this week. It changes every 5 minutes. So we do hits, misses, MVP. What do they want? What do we want to see on next week's show and must see? We do this for every AEW.
It's a round table.
It's a round table.
Yeah.
All right. Start with you. What's your hits, brother?
All right. Well, you know, Richard invented the list. Richard from P3 Radio invented the list. So
shout out to Richard.
Appropriated that idea. So I have a list. So we're going to start with having the hits for me, having the intros for the Battle Royal on the pre-show. Perfect use for the pre-show. Got you you're not wasting any valuable pay-per-view time with that. I have Karen Jarrett clobbering Aubrey with the guitar. I love that. I don't know why, but I just loved it. We have the turtleneck chant for Christian. I really enjoyed that. That was the first time there's ever been a turtleneck chant. I got to give props to Wardlow for that swanton off that ladder. That to see a guy that big do a swanton off that big ass Jeff Hardy-esque ladder onto the tables. He barely hit the tables, but still, good thing he did. Otherwise, he would have been paralyzed. We got Pam is going to be an auntie. Very exciting there. There was hard work in the Pillars match. I thought all of them worked hard. I will also cover something in the misses about that match. But number one, my hit has to be the Anarchy in or at the arena, either one, whichever. Just so many things to love about that match. I love the band playing Wild Thing on and on and on until the Bucks super kicked the lead singer, the Gimp. He looked like the leather mask that the guy was wearing looked dangerously close to blackface. And other people were saying that too. I thought that was tacky. But anyway, giving him the super kick was great. There was forks, there was glass, there was tacks, there was barbed wire, there was a pickup truck, there was a leaf blower. What the hell was a leaf blower doing in there? The exploding super kick, the tacks in Matt Jackson's bare feet, and the shocking finish for me of Wheeler Yuta pinning Kenny Omega. It was the only 5-star match on the show, but I love that match. So my biggest hit was the Anarchy match.
All
What
right,
about you, Brian?
Hits. Let me start out. I have a miss about this, but I love the creativity of the battle royal. They sometimes, and I'll mention this, they just try too hard, but this was something different. And we have not seen it before. I kind of like that. Sabu was on there. I really like that. I always big mark for Sabu. Finish of the Jericho Cole match. And you'll talk about a miss for that match and the battle royal here in a minute. But I really like the way they did a finish. Jericho's been on. I know he's always had a good match, but the last 2 pay-per-views, he's been so good. Toni Storm. I don't know if you know this, Lance, but she is pretty.
I've heard she's pretty.
Toni Storm's gear. Oh, my God. Oh. You know, I love Toni in the ring, her work and everything, but Jesus, that juice. And her winning the title, I like that. I haven't read anything, so I'm assuming something's going on with the injury or something. I loved, and I know you didn't, because I heard through the grapevine you don't like Max Caster. But I like Max Caster's rap. Buddy acts all ominous when he's getting cucked by a kid named Dominic. And we also had Rhea Ripley actually said something about that on Monday. Hey, Dominic, we are over in 2 companies. Billy Gunn's hot tag. I know I'll mark out for some psychology stuff, but Brody bumped, and then we have Gunn losing. Perfect for that. I love the mentors spot in the Pillars match where everybody did their mentors finisher. Love that. I don't know who put together that, but that was really crazy. The main event, let me say it's a hit, but I got some misses about it too. Mm-hmm. Those 8 guys, I always talk about AEW needing stars, and we have a bunch of people on the roster, but who's a real star? We always talk about CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, but man, they got such a huge reaction, all 8 of them. I sit there thinking to myself, well, these guys right here are the stars I keep talking about. Mm-hmm. And then my final hit was Yuta pinning Omega. I absolutely loved that.
I mean, that was to blow him up for sure. I mean,
they've been putting him over every once in a while, but and just talking about his progression. And this is how to get Yuta over. I'm still not a huge fan of his, but man, you can't do anything else but let him pin Omega. Yeah. Jesus.
How often you don't see Kenny Omega doing that many jobs?
You do not.
To see Yuta be the one that got the pinfall. Yeah, that's something that's memorable for sure. The guy, I'm not a huge fan either. The guy is boring as hell. He's like watching paint dry. He can't do much on promos.
I don't think that at all.
I think he's boring, and there's no personality. He's just very cardboard.
But you think Randy Orton's boring, so I can't even take your.
I'm open to the idea that Yuta could grow on me. I just want to see more. I just need to see more personality or something.
And where's he going to grow on you at? Where's he going to grow on you at? Is it your arm?
The bottom of my feet. The bottom of my feet. That's where he should be.
All right, misses. Let's get misses, brother.
All right, misses. We're going to start with Martha Hart's obvious obsession with weird hats. That's a miss for me. The crowd was dead much of this show. The crowd was just so quiet. It wasn't sold out, I don't think, and they paid for it a lot.
Not at all. Go ahead and go try to look up a picture of that. That's sad. It's very sad.
It was very quiet, I thought. Honestly, this is the first time I can remember saying this, but the first half of that card was very pedestrian. I thought it's very rare that we had so many average matches in the first half of that show. RJ City is god-awful. Between him, Danhausen, and Max Caster, Tony Khan has cornered the market on annoying people, so it's a good thing that the wrestling is almost.
You don't like those people? You never said that. You've never said that.
I got another miss. Wardlow trying to climb the broken ladder. Arn biting Luchasaurus's thumb or talon, whatever that was. I don't know if it's a talon on him or what, but biting the bloody, the fake blood gushing out from Arn's mouth. The match was a mess. Too bad they choked on the Wardlow push, because I think they really could have done
Oh,
something
they've
with
choked.
They really gave up on that. Tony over Hater, you mentioned that. I thought that it was a sudden pinfall. It was a switch of a title that I did not see coming. So I, like you referenced, I kind of figure somebody has to be hurt or something. Also, that match signified the stupid babyface syndrome, as I like to call it. You got a babyface coming out, 3 heels on the other side, and they don't even bother having any backup or anything. It just always looks so dumb to me. That happened a couple times on this card. I hate that when the baby faces just don't even realize, like, what, there's going to be a 3-on-1 situation.
Right. I hate that too. It makes it look stupid. Yeah.
So dumb that they can't think ahead. I thought the House of Black was handcuffed with the Albatross, the Acclaimed. I'm sorry. House of Black had their worst match on pay-per-view because they were stuck with those goofs. 2.25 stars for me. And I love the House of Black, so it pains me to say that. Chris Statlander is the one. Did not see that coming. I think she's a retread. She'll be a heel soon enough because they fuck up the female baby faces so badly. She'll be a heel soon enough. I thought the Pillars match, while I liked the hard work, I thought it was very contrived and there was very choreographed spots that just drove me nuts. All 4 of them putting on submission holds at the same time.
You like the Young Bucks matches, but you say this was choreographed?
That was so,
loved that
contrived. Match. I just didn't like the 4 submissions at the same time. They just, everything in succession in that match. I loved the hard work, don't get me wrong, but they could have done without some of those spots.
What did you give it? How many stars did you give that match?
4. Yeah. Because they all busted their asses. I mean, it was a 4-star match.
I'm in there with you on that.
Number 1 miss, though, is DirecTV fucking up my feed. So I missed the Battle Royal and I missed the Jericho Cole match in their entirety because I was on the phone trying to get my fucking cable box fixed to see the show. Bought the show in the morning, had it all set to go, and was watching the pre-show on YouTube. And then, lo and behold, there's no feed. So I missed the first 45 minutes of the show. So F you, DirecTV, for screwing up my AEW. I don't know that I would have liked the show any more than I did, missing those 2 matches, but I sure was pissed going into that 3rd match. So that's my biggest miss is DirecTV, not the show itself.
Misses. I said this just a little bit earlier. I think AEW just tries too hard. They open the show with the Battle Royal. I like the creativity of Battle Royal, but I hate Battle Royal. So I just did not like them opening the show with that. Keith Lee's hair, total miss. Dye your hair. You look like you're 80 years old. International title. I'm going to ask you something. I'm not trying to be a racist. I really not. But shouldn't a Mexican have that belt? I just want to. Jim Ross sucks. He is not even Jim Ross anymore. He yelled, "Hey, stupid," to somebody. He told Karen Jarrett to shut up. Why is an announcer doing that? And he called "you little jerk" to Sanjay Dutt. Why? Why is he talking to the wrestlers? Fireball backstage with Jericho trying too hard. Biting the banger, as we say, or thumb, or whatever you say. Horrible. Why does Wardlow, of all people on the show, need Arn Anderson, who's in worse shape than I am? Why do they need Arn Anderson out there who barely walks out there? Oh God, it was horrible. I thought Jade had a good match, another good match with Taya. But I hated the whole thing with Statlander. It was just a debacle to me. So she comes out, she's the baby face, and she gets I don't know. None of it made any sense to me.
I forgot to mention, she killed her on that pile driver too.
Killed her, absolutely killed her.
Pile driver. That was
and the music playing during the main event, hated it, absolutely hated it. Shout out to Jeff Singer. Ref bleeding. Trying too hard. The exploding foot kick. Oh, that's so stupid. And the thumbtacks in the foot after the exploding kick, and after they take just trying too hard. That was my misses. Okay. My misses. Let me say something. The main event was fun.
Yep.
I enjoyed it. I did. But I think it's a big miss. I think they never are going to expand their fan base if they keep doing garbage wrestling. I mean, I gave it like 4.5 stars. I enjoyed it, but I am their fan base. I am an AEW fan. Nobody that watches wrestling on a regular basis sees highlights of some of that shit that goes out of their way and says, I want to see that, especially the audience that they want. So, guys, y'all are just trying too hard. Trying too hard is a major miss.
Great point. Because, that's the stuff that happens in the main event is the stuff that you could show clips, and the critics will show clips of that and criticize AEW for that kind of stuff. So you're right. I mean, that they're never going to get that WWE casual fan base to come over.
Never. I keep saying they're not going to go over the, I said 1.2, 1.3. They hadn't even hit that, but maybe once or twice. But I think the base of the fan base, is those amount of people. And there's all kinds of weird trends with their pay-per-views. They have people buy their pay-per-view, and then they won't buy another pay-per-view for like 3 pay-per-views down the line. And then you got new people buying it, but those new people won't buy the other pay-per-views. It's just odd, odd. I tell you, I know this has nothing to do with misses or anything, but AEW, if they could get on Max or something where you subscribe and watch all the pay-per-views, remember how many people are watching Peacock. They're watching those pay-per-views, and that helps them move up the ladder per se. I think that would benefit them than that $50 pay-per-view, which you had problems with. Guess what? I always have problems with it. I paid for it and had to watch it bootleg because it never works. It never works. So at least I paid for it.
Well, the funny thing for mine, just as a side note, I had just gotten the February one, the show that we did. I just got it, no problems, no issues, and I got DirecTV telling me that the issue with this was my box. I'm like, how is it that my box all of a sudden in 3 months it aged so much that now it's the old school version of the box and I need a brand new box altogether? I'm like, and then they flipped a switch or something on their end and I got the rest of the show. So I'm like, I don't know what you're telling me.
I used to work for DirecTV. We made up shit all the time. So there you go.
That's what it sounded like. So,
all right, MVP. Who's your MVP?
MVP. Well, I have to start with Karen Jarrett because of the way she clobbered Audrey with the guitar. So I want Aubrey to stand not like a weirdo anymore. So maybe
Jericho's favorite ref. He says she may be the best rep in the business. I love Aubrey. She was a sweetheart when I interviewed her, but I didn't get when I recorded. You remember this, but when I recorded, I didn't get her voice. I just got mine. I wish I would have saved that. And then I would have put it out. Aubrey Edwards, AEW rep, and then you never hear people.
My least favorite episode of yours ever.
Oh, whatever. You didn't. I didn't get her on there.
So, all right.
You're just like the internet wrestling community. All of them give her hell because she's not standing correctly.
She stands weird. That's all I gotta say. So,
all right, I'll shut up.
Karen Jarrett's one of my MVPs. Tony Schiavone, MVP for saying the damn referee is bleeding. That was my favorite.
I hated that. The whole show.
But my MVP, and unfortunately you already referenced him, is Matt Jackson, because I love the exploding shoe bit. I love that. It was so goofy and so weird and so different. I loved it. The exploding Jordans and taking the thumbtacks not only to the bottom of his bare feet, but in his mouth too. So Matt
By the way, did you look? Were the thumbtacks real? Were the thumbtacks real on it?
They probably weren't, but that's okay.
They were. They were in his foot. They were real.
They were in his foot, yeah. So, but Matt Jackson just for busting his ass and working his ass off in that match. So I love Matt Jackson's work on that. I love the Young Bucks.
Oh, you did. Young Bucks. If the Young Bucks just went on the pay-per-view and shit, just stood there and shit on the stage, you would give them 5 stars.
No, I probably would not.
The only match I gave 5 stars was Young
Bucks. All right. Who was your MVP?
My MVP. You hated the match. I absolutely loved the match. The 4-way title match. And I gave it to Sammy. I gave it to, if you'll be quiet, I'll tell you. I gave it to Sammy G. I'm an insider. That's what I call him. I thought he looked fantastic. Great. I loved that match. I love the way you said it seemed choreographed, but I'm going to tell you something. I bet you don't know this. but wrestling is choreographed.
Is it?
I absolutely loved it, and I think Sammy really outshined everyone, including the MJF. Good match. My MVP, Sammy G.
I think it's Sammy Guevara. I think.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Pronounced.
No, I call him Sammy G.
So congrats to him and Ty, and congrats
yes.
to Pam for becoming an aunt.
An aunt.
Very cool. So, all right, what we're looking forward to, is that what's next?
Yeah, what do you look forward to on this next week's show or in the future on AEW?
So I'll start with what's next for Jade, because they took the belt off of Jade after the 60-0 or whatever it was. So can they make me care about Chris Statlander? I don't think so. I feel like she's a retread. I feel like we've been there, done that. She's been out with injury after injury after injury. But can they get me to care about her? And honestly, I was kidding before, but they've fumbled so many times with so many hot babyface females that came in, like Ember Moon.
Not only that, we're talking about. Look, Warlord was so over. And I meant to mention this. You don't like them, but did you hear the response that the Acclaim got? Zero response. Zero. Do you remember the pay-per-view when they were so fucking over?
With Swerve and
they have really shit on getting people over and keeping them over. And you're right. Chris Statlander will have the belt and no one will give a shit.
Why her? I mean, I realized that there weren't very many other free agent women that could possibly come in, but there were certainly some. There were some Japanese girls they probably could have gotten from Stardom or something.
We had Willow. Me and you talked about Willow, and even Meltzer had mentioned it. And she just beat Sasha Banks. I think I would have put Willow over. Then she's got a double belt. She's a star. But number one, I'm sorry, but them coming out, all that bullshit was horrible. Jade is a heel, and she's their challenge. I don't know. I just didn't understand any of that. I mean, it was just stupid.
They've mishandled Jade so much because, like, again, we've talked about it, having her little girl there at ringside.
So stupid.
Totally a babyface thing. I know she probably loves doing it with her daughter and all, but it's a babyface thing. You're a heel, and you're portraying yourself as a heel. So don't do the kid thing. Taking the belt off of her for Statlander, I just didn't see that as being the one. We always talk about who's going to be the one. So anyway, what's next for Jade? Can they rehabilitate Jade? Can they, Jade did a decent job with Taya.
She has Taya. No, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and just say it. Taya's did an excellent job with Jade. She's called those two matches, and they've been really, really good matches.
So what's next for Jade? What's next for Statlander? Can they make me care about Statlander? What's next for the Elite? With Don Callis not only turning on Kenny, but take a shitta turning on them as well, and a loss to the BBC or the BCC or whatever they're called. So what's next for the Elite? What direction are they going with them? I'm looking forward to seeing Wheeler Yuta ever blade, because he was the only one that wasn't gushing in that match. So at some point he will be forced to blade.
I had friends that we wrestled with. One of the guys worked at the courthouse for his shoot job, and he would never. He goes, "I'm not blading. Y'all are fucking stupid. I'm not blading."
But my number one thing that I'm looking forward to is starting the road of Adam Cole being the one to take the title from MJF. So I've got my mindset. Adam Cole is going to be the one that beats MJF for the title, and I want to see how that road begins, because he beat Jericho. I didn't see it, but I know he beat Jericho because I've heard it. So I didn't get to see it thanks to DirecTV, but I want to see what happens with with Adam Cole next. And are they going to program him with MJF down the line, going to all?
God, I hope not. Whew.
So that is what I'm looking forward to, my friend.
Good match with him and Jericho, but just not an Adam Cole fan. But I'm looking forward to Paige and whatever name she's going by this week.
So right.
And Jericho are going against Cole and Baker on Wednesday night show. I really like the way they did that promo, except for the fireball. I mean, Jericho's standing there with that eye that's all black, and that's the reason they stopped the match, because Cole kept punching him in the face. I love that finish, and I love them going right directly to it. That's what I'm looking forward to for next week's show. I don't know where they're going with anything. They always confuse me with their booking, so I have no idea. All right, we're up to the last thing. Must see.
So must see, obviously, it's Anarchy at or in the arena. Glorious violence, glorious bloodshed. Honestly, I thought about this. I had to say, this is what we watch wrestling for. This is why we watch wrestling, is stuff like that. Just over the top, crazy, hard work from everybody, bloodshed, and just like I said, glorious violence. So I think that's what you got to go out of your way to see on this card, on this particular card. That's what you got to watch.
Don't listen to him. So I had fun with it, but it's not for a normal fan. It's not a must see for me. A bunch of horse shit is what I say. Must see for me, and it's the match you didn't like was the 4-way title match. I love that match. Still, in the 4-star range. I think I gave it 4.5. And we haven't even mentioned this except you say something about Karen Jarrett, and I did too. But that tag team title match was really good, booked real well, going to the finish, all the stuff that they did. Man, my buddy Jeff Jarrett, he kills me. He's my age, and he is working his ass off. I mean, he is working his ass off. I think maybe Jeff, some of these matches he's having with FTR, I don't think he had better matches except maybe with Shawn Michaels a few matches.
Dude,
he is working so hard.
This is my favorite Jeff Jarrett in his whole career. This right now,
so
this era of Jeff Jarrett is my favorite. Just the mic work has always been solid, obviously, but just the work in the ring, I just loving it. From when last year at the Ric Flair retirement thing, just all of it, just all of it. It's been so good.
He got in such great shape, and he was like I said, he's 56 years old, graduated class of 1985, decided to get in great, fantastic shape, and being in a tag match does help him, but he's had some really good single matches too. I look at him sometimes and he looks like he's about blown up, but all of a sudden he's right back at it. Fantastic. That's one of those matches I really like because I don't know if you know this, but I'm a tag team mark.
Team mark. I gave that for the record. I gave that one 3.5. I enjoyed it. But 3.5. I mean,
okay. So before we leave, you came on here last time when we did a pay-per-view review on Dynamite. You said best pay-per-view ever.
Yep.
And Meltzer didn't even think it was the best AEW pay-per-view ever. I laughed at you. But let me tell you about this pay-per-view. This was the worst AEW pay-per-view ever. If you go by the quality of the matches, I gave 3 over 4 stars, and rest of everything was just horseshit.
A lot of twos.
Like
said,
yep.
The first half of that card was just so pedestrian. So I said, and I'll echo you, this is the first time I could say thumbs in the middle for an AEW show. It's always been thumbs up. There's always been, 3/4 or more fantastic matches on these cards, but this one, first time ever that I could say thumbs in the middle, because while the second half was very good, the first half was just there, and
I enjoyed it, but I thought the WWE pay-per-view on Saturday was tons better. Big thumbs up there. If you watch those 2 pay-per-views, just go and watch those 2 pay-per-views. There's so much of a difference in what we're doing, which is good. It's good, okay? Because I'm all about what Baba did against Inoki, changed everything he was doing. I love that. But it's, like I said, I think the best thing I can say about the whole AEW thing is they're trying too hard. I want them to succeed, but I just, they just... Arn Anderson biting somebody's banger off. What the hell was that? It didn't make any sense. If I would have thought of this ahead of time, we would have had somebody come in your room there and eat your
my finger.
By the way, he is in the new studio, as y'all could tell. We have very good sound tonight and a clear picture. That's the best picture you've ever had. And you have a bed. So any single women out there that's over the age of 40, please call Lance.
Way out of my wheelhouse.
You don't need to,
Anyway,
out of your league. That's the young ones. That's
going to leave that alone.
All right, here we go. I'm getting out of here, Lance.
Wait, I just want to say the stars, because we talked about, you mentioned this, the stars on my average. Now, granted, I missed those 2 matches, but my average for this was only 3.07 stars, which is really low for an AEW show. But to your point, Night of Champions the night before, 3.29. So average,
I didn't average out my stars, but
that show was good.
Yeah, it was so easy to watch. Yep. And this was in parts of it so hard to watch. He was just like, they're pulling my finger off. They're trying to bite my finger.
Yep. Yeah.
I started yelling that as loud as I could when Arn was doing that. I was saying, he's biting his finger. He's biting his finger. Yeah, I was by myself, so I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're out of here. Same bat time, same bat channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And is that where
like windshield wipers? Be there.
I'm losing my voice. I have a sinus infection. I'm sorry. Be there. And as everyone knows, and Lance knows, I love my mama.
Right. He loves his mama. So let me fill in. I can fill in for that. And as everyone knows, I have fun everywhere I go. And I will not be going to the Second Coming because I will be seeing Three Doors Down and Candlebox that night. So I cannot go to the CM Punk return.
I love both of those. We will have reporter Eric Crone. Eric Crone will be there, and I'm excited about that. We may bring him on, but we will be doing a review show about the pay-per-view. I'm excited about all that. Guys, thank you for joining us. We're going to do just a little on Patreon, but we got to get this episode out before midnight. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
God.